My sister secretly enrolled my son in a school across the country and tried to claim guardianship. She said, "He'll have a better life without you." I found the papers she filed. I waited. At the school's parent orientation, she walked in proud, until she saw me holding my son's hand. The principal called security. But before they arrived, I showed her the custody order with her forged signature highlighted. "I'm 41. My name's Tanya. I live in Spokane, Washington. I've been a single mom since my son Max was 2. His father, Sean, walked out one morning and never looked back. No child support, no calls. I didn't chase him. I had a kid to raise. Max is my world. I gave up a lot to keep things together: college, travel, dating. I cleaned houses during the day, delivered groceries at night. Some weeks, I didn't know how I'd pay rent. But I never complained. I just did what I had to do." My older sister, Amanda, moved to Connecticut years ago. She's 5 years older than me and has always acted like she's better. She married a dentist, never had kids, and lives in one of those clean, perfect neighborhoods where people put out fall wreaths in September. We kept in touch, barely. She'd call sometimes, usually to brag. I always felt like she looked down on me. Like I'd failed at life just because I didn't live in some picture-perfect suburb. Last summer, she said she wanted to come visit. I was surprised, but she said she missed me and wanted to spend time with Max. I was cautious, but I said okay.
She stayed for a week.
While she was here, she really turned on the charm. Took Max shopping, bought him clothes I couldn't afford, got him a fancy tablet. She even offered to pay part of his school tuition. I told her that wasn't necessary. She asked a lot of questions that felt off. Like, do you have a will? What would happen if something happened to you? Is Max's dad still completely out of the picture? I answered honestly, but something in my gut felt off. I chalked it up to her usual judgmental attitude. She left. I breathed a little easier. A few weeks went by. Then 3 months later, everything blew up. I dropped Max off at his friend Caleb's house before work. Caleb's mom was supposed to take them both to school. Around 9:30, I got a call from Max's school saying he wasn't there. I felt my throat close up. I called Caleb's mom. She was frantic. She said Amanda had shown up that morning, said she was taking Max for a surprise outing, and promised to bring him to school after. I called Amanda. No answer. I called the police. I was a wreck. About 2 hours later, the police called me back. Amanda had been stopped with Max at SeaTac Airport. She was trying to board a flight to New York. She told them she had guardianship. Showed them some paper. I was shaking. I drove there as fast as I could with my custody papers in hand. At the airport, they let me take Max. Amanda acted like it was all a big misunderstanding. She kept saying, "I thought we agreed." I told her flat out, "You're not his mother. You don't get to take him." The officers said it was a family dispute. No arrest. No charges. Just a warning. I was stunned. After that, she cut all contact. Didn't call. Didn't respond to anything. But I had a feeling that wasn't the end. 2 months later, I found a large manila envelope in my mailbox. No return address. Inside were copies of school enrollment forms. Max's name. Amanda's address. A school in Fairfield, Connecticut. I thought it was a mistake until I saw the next document, petition for temporary guardianship. Filed in Connecticut court. Signed with my name. But it wasn't my signature. I've signed thousands of school forms, legal papers, lease agreements. I know my signature. This one was close, but wrong.
Off.
My stomach turned. I called the court listed on the document and asked about the case. They confirmed Amanda had filed a petition for guardianship, claiming I had mental health problems and that Max wanted to live with her. She said I was unfit. Said I gave Max unstable housing and neglected his emotional needs. She submitted fake screenshots of texts I'd never sent. Claimed I gave Max sleeping pills to keep him quiet.
Lies.
I called a family law attorney right then. We filed an emergency response. I gathered every document I had: school reports, pediatrician records, custody orders, letters from teachers. We got an emergency order issued, confirming I had sole legal and physical custody. Then I waited. I knew when the school in Fairfield was holding their parent orientation. I booked 2 tickets. Me and Max flew to Connecticut. I was shaking when we walked into that school's front office. The secretary gave us a visitor badge. We sat in the auditorium with other parents.
Max was quiet. He held my hand the whole time.
About 10 minutes in, Amanda walked in, laughing, smiling. She had a coffee in her hand. She waved to someone. She was glowing. She looked like she had it all. Until she saw me. She froze. Her eyes locked on me, then on Max. Her face dropped. She walked over slowly and said, low and cold, "What are you doing here?" I didn't answer. I looked at the principal and said, "I need to show you something." I pulled out the court-certified documents, the original custody order, and the highlighted section where Amanda forged my name. I showed my ID. I showed notarized statements. The principal looked overwhelmed. Security was called. Amanda started talking fast. "She's lying. She's unstable. You don't know what she's like." I didn't say a word. I just held Max's hand tighter. Security asked her to step outside. She refused. So, they escorted her out in front of everyone. That was just the first step. I wasn't done. She filed forged papers. She tried to disappear with my son. And now the legal fight is mine to finish. And I promise you, I will. After they escorted Amanda out of the school that night, the principal came back and apologized. Said he had no idea. He thought Amanda was Max's legal guardian. She'd given them every document they needed. Doctor's notes, immunization records, a fake birth certificate with her last name listed as his. My stomach turned when I heard that. They'd already assigned Max to a classroom. His name was on the door. His desk had supplies. She'd picked out a backpack, printed little labels with his name and her address. It was like she'd rewritten our lives right down to the zip code. That same night, we checked into a hotel. Max didn't ask many questions. He's a quiet kid, sensitive. But I could see it in his eyes, confused, scared. He asked if he did something wrong. I told him no. I told him he did everything right, that it was adults who made bad choices. I wanted to fly back home right away, but my attorney said to stay. The forged documents, the false court filing, the attempted kidnapping, we had to file charges locally. I spent 2 days giving statements to police, turning over evidence. We filed a formal complaint with the court. My lawyer worked around the clock. Amanda lawyered up the moment she got served. She claimed it was all a misunderstanding. That I invited her to act as guardian. She even pulled out a fake letter, typed and signed with my name, saying I gave her permission, in case of emergency. The date was during the week she visited us. The signature was a bad copy of my real one. She must have traced it off an old school permission slip or insurance form. But the judge wasn't buying it. Still, Amanda didn't back down. She filed for emergency custody again. This time claiming I was unstable, homeless, and in need of mental help. She dug into my past, trying to find anything. I had a brief depression after Max's dad left. Saw a counselor. That was 12 years ago. She dragged it into the court record like it happened yesterday. I couldn't believe the nerve. She was supposed to be my sister. I used to braid her hair when we were little. We'd share clothes, sneak out together, cry about boys. I was there when she got her first period. She held my hand the day I gave birth. Now she was trying to destroy me. She started calling CPS back in Spokane. Left anonymous tips. Said I left Max home alone. That I hit him. That I abused substances. All lies. Every time a case worker showed up, I had to pull out records, let them interview Max. He was scared. I was exhausted. They found nothing, but every visit took a piece out of me. Then she went after my job. She emailed the woman I cleaned houses for. Said I had a criminal record that I stole from clients. I lost 2 regulars because of those emails. When I confronted Amanda's lawyer about it, he denied she sent them. But I traced the email headers. It was her. My son started asking if we were safe. I didn't know how to answer. I installed cameras at our apartment. Changed the locks. I started sleeping with my phone on my chest. The court case dragged out for months. Amanda tried every trick. She asked the judge for visitation rights, even though she wasn't even on Max's emergency contact form. Said it was in the child's best interest. I wanted to scream. What kind of person lies, fakes documents, calls CPS on their own sister, and then asks for visitation? Max's therapist, who I got involved as soon as things started, filed a report saying Amanda was manipulative, harmful, and confusing to Max. That helped. A lot. But Amanda didn't back off. She filed a motion accusing me of coaching Max. It felt endless. Friends started pulling away. They didn't know what to believe. Amanda was calling people we both knew, saying I was mentally ill, that I was hiding Max, that I had a breakdown. Even our own mother got confused. She called me crying, asking what was true. I said, "Mom, she tried to steal my son." Her reply? Maybe she thought she was helping. That broke something in me. I realized then I was on my own. But I wasn't afraid anymore. I was angry, and I was just getting started. About 4 months into the legal battle, I got a call from my lawyer that stopped me cold. "Tanya," he said, "we have a problem." Amanda had filed a request to move the case to Connecticut, claiming that's where Max had established residency. She argued that since she'd enrolled him in school there, and he'd been listed at her address in school records, Connecticut now had jurisdiction over custody. It was a long shot. But legally, if the court there agreed, it could have meant starting from scratch. With her turf, her lawyer, her lies. I felt sick. My attorney fought it hard. We presented every receipt, every signed school withdrawal form, every date-stamped email proving Max never left Washington willingly, that he'd been enrolled there the whole time, that I had never agreed to any guardianship change. But Amanda had another trick. She showed up to the next hearing with a man I didn't recognize at first. Late 40s, clean-shaven, dressed like he belonged in court. When she introduced him, my whole body went cold.
Sean.
Max's father. The man who vanished 12 years ago. She'd found him. She tracked him down somehow, probably using one of those online background tools, and convinced him to file for joint custody. The man who'd never paid a dime. Never wrote a letter. Never called on a birthday. Now, he was sitting 2 rows behind me in court, with Amanda coaching him like a damn puppet. Their angle? That I'd kept Max away from his father all these years. That I was unstable, and Sean had regret and wanted to make amends. It was disgusting. I wanted to scream. I wanted to hit something. But I didn't. I stayed calm. Because I knew emotion could be used against me. My attorney requested a paternity test. That slowed things down. The results came back. He was the father.
No surprise.
But it gave Amanda a new tool. She filed a motion to have Sean granted temporary visitation with her supervising. She argued it would build family unity. She wasn't just trying to take Max, she was trying to make me the outsider in my own family. But the thing about digging through someone's past is, sometimes you uncover more than you wanted to. 2 weeks later, my lawyer called again.
We found something, he said.
Turns out, Amanda's husband, Dr. Ron Feldman, the perfect dentist with the house in the suburbs, had filed for separation 3 months prior. Quietly. Amanda never mentioned it. But the paperwork was public record. And in the filings, a line about repeated financial fraud and misrepresentation regarding a minor dependent. I dug deeper. Her husband claimed Amanda had taken out a second mortgage, without his knowledge, using falsified income. He also alleged she misused their joint funds to pay for unauthorized legal action involving a child not legally hers. She was using his money to fight me. Worse, her husband had written a sworn statement that Amanda had a pattern of controlling behavior and had expressed desires to remove her nephew from his mother due to perceived inferiority. She called me unfit? She forged signatures and drained her marriage dry trying to steal my child. We submitted the affidavit into evidence. Things started to shift. The judge wasn't so patient anymore. You could feel it in the courtroom. Amanda's lawyer got quieter. Sean stopped making eye contact. Amanda's hands shook when she spoke. But I wasn't done. Not even close. I had one more piece left. Something I'd kept quiet. Something Amanda didn't know I had. Back when she visited last summer, the week she showered Max with gifts, played the loving aunt, asked all those questions, I had set up a nanny cam. Not because I didn't trust her, but because I often left for work while Max was asleep. I wanted to make sure things were okay. That camera caught everything, including one conversation between Amanda and Max, 2 days before she flew home. She sat next to him and said in a low voice, "Wouldn't it be fun to live in a big house with me? You could have your own room. I'd be your new mom. Mommy's too tired, don't you think?" I watched that footage again before handing it to my lawyer. My hands shook. My stomach turned. But I knew this was what I needed. I gave it to the court. Amanda didn't know yet, but soon she would. The hearing that would decide everything was set for a Friday morning in early February. Snow was still on the ground in Connecticut. I flew in 2 days early, Max with my mom back in Spokane. I didn't tell Amanda I was coming. I didn't respond to her lawyer's emails. I wanted her blindsided. In court, Amanda looked polished like always. Cream coat. Hair done. She brought Sean again, like she thought that added weight to her side. But she looked tired.
Worn.
That edge she used to have. Smirking in the hallway, smug when I spoke, it was gone. The judge called us in. My lawyer stood first. He laid everything out, clean and clear. The forged guardianship petition. The fake emails to CPS. The false enrollment papers. The coaching of a long-gone deadbeat dad. The attempt to shift jurisdiction illegally. And then, finally, he introduced the nanny cam footage. Amanda's lawyer tried to object, but the judge allowed it. Said it went directly to intent. They played the clip right there in front of everyone. Amanda's voice, soft, snake-like, telling my son I was too tired. Saying she could be his new mom. I watched her face while it played. She didn't blink, but her eyes darted, fast, like she wanted to run. When it ended, the judge sat quiet for a long time. Then he turned to Amanda and said, "You tried to steal a child. You filed fraudulent documents, manipulated this court, and caused unnecessary trauma. This isn't guardianship. It's abduction, dressed up in paperwork." He turned to her lawyer. "Withdraw your client's motions. All of them." Her lawyer started to speak, but Amanda interrupted. She stood up. "This court doesn't understand. He would have had a better life with me." That did it. The judge ordered the bailiff to take Amanda into custody for contempt, on the spot. She screamed, said it was unfair, that I was the unfit one. They cuffed her right there, in front of me, in front of Sean, in front of the clerk, the court reporter, everyone. Her hair was falling out of its perfect bun. Her coat was crooked. Her voice cracked. I was trying to save him. No one said a word. Outside the courtroom, I caught Sean by the arm. I looked him straight in the eye. "You show up again," I said. "You better bring a shovel. Because the only thing you're going to dig is your own grave in court." He didn't reply. He just left. I haven't heard from him since. Amanda spent 3 days in jail for contempt. Enough to shake her. But it didn't stop there. I filed a civil suit for emotional damages and legal costs. Her own husband submitted supporting testimony. Said she drained over $90,000 from their joint account for unauthorized legal activity. He finalized the divorce 2 months later and got a judgment forcing her to repay him. CPS dropped a file on her too, for filing false reports. She was flagged in their system. No chance of ever becoming a foster parent. No adoption agency would touch her again. Her name is mud now. She had to sell her house, move back to upstate New York, in with some cousin I've never met. Last I heard, she's working front desk at a medical clinic, no longer even speaking to most of our family. My mother finally saw the truth after watching that court footage. She cried when she saw it. Said, "I was wrong, Tanya. I'm sorry." I nodded. I said, "You were." And that was it. As for Max, he's okay now. He's back in school, seeing his therapist, sleeping better. I never lied to him, but I also didn't give him the darkest parts. One day, when he's older, he'll read every file, every form, every court record, and he'll know the truth. His mother never gave up on him. His aunt tried to steal him, and I made sure she paid for it. With her reputation, her marriage, her future. She thought I'd break. I didn't. I made sure she did.